Happy Tuesday and welcome back to LCO. It is day number 2 of our playoffs. We're all ready and raring to go. Skimmy, you look, by the way, last time I saw you on camera, your hair was like down here. Now you look all perked up, ready for day number 2 after the banger that was yesterday.
Can I say, Nat, you know, after last night, I had to look on point to get ready for these elimination games because, you know, we're suited and booted, much like a funeral, in the black, ready for the teams to get sent home packing.
I didn't even realize that, but yeah, I mean, you are right about what's to come today, and I guess how we're dressed as well, but Max, you're looking not in funeral attire.
I didn't get the memo, guys. I didn't realize that this was such a somber occasion. I thought it was meant to be bright and happy, but I can find some black to put on after this, so I will amend those errors.
Well, look, I'll give you a little bit of time because right now we are going to have a look at how day 1 started, how our upper bracket playoffs matches occurred yesterday.
Words exchanged prior to this series.
He asked me today if I'm ready to lose, and obviously he doesn't know what's gonna happen to him. I'll gap this guy.
Yeah, it always feels like great winning, especially when I'm playing against my little bro talking too much smack on the podcast. When I flash for him, like I was just thinking, like I'm killing my little bro. It's just funny.
They got the flash.
Good. He should be put in his place. Well done.
They've opened Pandora's box. They do not like what they see. Benby isolated as Ryoma goes on a rampage. He's got 4 kills right now. 3 members locked inside that magnet score. This is a drive-by on the Dragon. Triple kill into double kill. This Smolder is unleashed.
It's actually the average IQ of a Yumi player. Not the amount.
I was going to say, maybe you take a step, leaving anything up for chance. As once again, Benby jumps in. Hook flash, disengage to safety. Out comes the lightning crash. Double count for Limas. He's hunting for more as they shove back 3. King limping away to safety, but Limas completely untouched. He's found 3. There becomes 4. There's some TikTok-ass build, I'll tell you that much. Zonus is flanking. He's running in, and whilst you're CC immune, you're not Smolder immune. So Legendary becomes the Smolder yet again, as Limas is 14-0 match. He is simply a beast. Double found
this time.
As he once again hunts for yet another pentakill moment.
He's gonna get it!
And he's gonna look to do it, and he is gonna find it to put the nail in the coffin.
I mean, that's just simple Lee Mulder. I get a pentakill like every single game that I play that champion, so...
Do it, Shern. He's stolen the Baron! There's no way! There is no way, Max! And
That's
they
so big.
Sorting at 1. The Elder down to 4k. Who can land this smite better? It's being picked up by Shern. They zap down Swiper for 80 seconds. They'll find a second. Ryoma answers back. Sonos goes golden to shut down Vanity. Zaps to live. But I tell you what, I feel like Grand Zero have finally done it. They finally ended the game that refused to end.
Let's pull up our board. Let's still see if Skimmy's been able to get one of our top 8 answers.
We're just hard stuck.
I'm saying a control ward.
Okay, well, he's saying control board. He thinks control boards are the...
That laugh kind of indicated that it might not be.
Yeah, I don't think we even need to go to the board after I laughed.
What? What? Huh?
Huh?
If this is the first answer, I'm quitting.
Okay.
Dude, we suck.
It's pretty high up there on skill, but not on the board.
Not on the board.
See you next time.
Not the smartest player,
Bye-bye now. Back to the
Garrett.
lobby.
I don't even know what's happening
I'm
anymore.
becoming deranged.
Becoming deranged. I feel like that was just the best summarization of yesterday. We had a lot of fun outside of the League of Legends actions that happened in that upper bracket. Team Bliss, they came in. It was a very nice, quick, solid performance from them. A 2-0, pushing Ion down to the lower bracket. Gave us that time. We got to have some LCO household hassle. Maybe there's going to be some time for today. Who really knows? But our second series yesterday went all the way to game number 3. And game 3 was such a highlight, not only for skill and what these two teams have, but also entertainment, Max.
I mean, yeah, entertaining was one way to put it. An arduous affair, some others might consider it to be, but definitely one of the games of the split. In terms of longest games, it definitely was that, at least across the entire LCO. So delivered on multiple fronts. I mean, it was a back and forth affair in games 1 and 2, but game 3, like 2 Elders, I think 3 Barons, a Soul as well. And Lima said it himself, there were about 8 times there where either team could have ended, they didn't, and then eventually Ground Zero came out. So look, you know, obviously our voices were a little bit suffering because of that, but I think that as a fan of League of Legends in general, I would love to see more games like that this playoffs.
Yeah, we were all a little bit delusional there, but it was an almost 3-year standing record for the longest game in the LCO, by the way, and it was beaten by 3 minutes yesterday in that game number 3 between Ground Zero and Antic. So I'm just going to hype it up again and recommend you definitely rewatch it at some point, but not right now, because we do still have a full day of lower bracket action. That's right, we're moving down just below those upper bracket matches, and we're going to have Fury up against Antic, and then it's going to be Kanga up against Ion. So out of those 4 teams, we are going to be seeing 2 have their hopes of making it to PCS and continuation of playoffs. I guess just disappeared today, Skimmy. It's going to be a tough one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Gone with the wind, blown away by the champion known as Smolder. That just eviscerates everything. What a champion.
Yeah, I just love Limus's Lee Smolder. I cannot get that out of my head, and it was edited so well in the recap.
Honestly,
too,
like Max said, right? We need to pay our video editor double. It's just too clean every time. It actually gets us hype.
It does. I'm just like, this is why we come in every single day, is for things like that. With these 2 elimination games, though, we thought we'd bring in some more people that could enlighten us with some of their expertise on how these matchups are potentially going to go. So we called up Fighter and we said, hey man, even though you can't be on the broadcast, please give us your best informed decision about Antic up against Fury. And he said, a nice quick 2-0 for Antic. The chefs at Fury have been cooking too much. Antic's overwhelming experience will triumph. That's pretty fair to say, I think, Skim.
Yeah, I would say as well. Yeah, I think when we've last seen them go up against each other, it's been a very one-sided affair. I think it was like 44 kills to 9 across that best of 2. So I think that kind of paints a fairly accurate picture that much like what we said last night, where, you know, the underdog being Fury, they need to cook up a few more creative ideas. I think it's too much of a predictable known quantity now to let the Belveth go through and Nox to pick that one up and hope that they can sort of 1v9 off that. So I'm expecting to come into this one with a few more creative picks, and maybe if we get a chirp interview, he can be incredibly nervous, and then I'm just actually going to completely flip around my prediction, say 2-0 Fury.
Yeah, maybe he's going to be enough just to entice you over there. But we have Rusty as well. He gave us a 2-0 for Antic unless Nox cooks. So I think Fury will have some gamer moves cooked up, but in the end, I don't think Chirp can handle his nerves versus big teams, and bot will likely be a Canyon in favor of Antic. The bot lane, I mean, we're going to dive a lot deeper into this matchup in a little bit, Max, but I feel like that's where eyes are going to be very heavily set for the lineup of Fury.
Yeah, I think this is a very fair appraisal here from Rusty. I think Chirp has shown that he's a solid mid laner in himself, but up against the likes of like Ryoma and Hayri, who we really are considering the top 2 at this stage, he just falls down in lane. And then their bot lane really hasn't impressed at all this season. I think they've been falling down with some pretty bad stats to back it up. So I do think this is kind of just one of those instances where it's a lane kingdom, and how do you actually fight back from that?
Yeah, maybe Tally will give us some more information. Maybe he's going to have a bit of a different prediction for it. It's not. He's still going to go with the 2-0 towards Antic, so that's pretty solid across the board. And he said he's actually confident in an Antic 2-0 over Fury. They had a strong showing in their team fighting prowess yesterday, and I'm not too worried about how the laning phase will go against Fury. Yeah, again, we feel like this is going to be very early game deciding. I think if Antic are able to just stay stable in that early game, it's the team fighting is really there. I think they're going to be able to hold themselves against Fury. But it's not only just one best of 3 that we have today. We have that second best of 3 too. So let's go through it again and let's hear from some of our experts about what they think for that series. So Fido said a 2-1, just favoring out Ion here. He said Kanga specialists will snatch away a map with smart drafting and pure champion mastery. Kanga struggled with decision making throughout the split, and Ion's explosive fast-paced style will give them an edge in the overall series. Do you feel like Ion still is in that definition of explosive and fast-paced though, Skimmy?
Yes or no? I think yesterday it was a case of obviously up against the heavyweights. They tried to be really clever with a Sejuani top at the very last second, a bit of a flex, but never really got to deploy, never really did too much with it, right? So it was difficult because I think when you have these completely mismatched kind of meetings of teams, priority becomes the overarching theme, and if you can't achieve it, then you just can't do anything, right? So you saw that Foreigner went for the champion of a Viego, and was just running around the map acting like a second support, right? So yeah, I think they definitely want to try and play explosively, but it's easy said and done for them.
Yeah, well, again, same predictions with Fighter. Rusty, they're on the same train of thought here that it's going to be a 2-1 towards Ion. I like the Invictus plus Fury doing Kenga, but my distinct bias towards Doraemon will reign supreme in this matchup. Ion may drop a game, but I believe in the Doraemon supremacy and the Wong Bloodlines clutch genes. Okay.
Yeah,
all
Doraemon.
Right.
He brings it home. Not yesterday. Only thing he brought home was a 0-2, but I think that's kind of a fair take on it as well. I think that Doraemon has looked the better of the two despite Woodon's fantastic laning stats, and I think... Sorry, Tomasino, wait, we're talking about the second series here. No, I'm getting confused. Anyway,
you were right.
So, look, I think this mid-jungle from the side of Kanga has looked really good. I think Fury at times has been a little bit shaky on these picks getting caught in side lanes. But Invictus, to me, he looks way better than he did in the regular season. I think that he's finally started to find his footing, especially in this carry role. I mean, we definitely know the game that they went up against Antic. He stole a ridiculous amount of Barons and did all this crazy stuff on the brand. So I think that he is a player who has really leveled up. And, you know, earlier in the split, I would have favored Ion in this matchup as well. But because of their growth, I think Kanga have just shown a little bit more.
It is really hard to compare. Actually, you know what? I'll save it for maybe later down, or at least until after we read Tally's thoughts here, because he's very different. Okay, he doesn't even think it's going to go to a game number 3. Tally goes 2-0 towards Kanga here. Kanga vs Ion is interesting. Ion had an extremely strong early showing in the split, but Kanga has been on the rise recently with their new ADC sticks. I think their strong teamwork will bring a 2-0 for them. I'm glad I didn't share my thoughts before reading Tally's, because almost verbatim, Tally has said what I was going to say, is that it's really hard to compare them exactly, because maybe the caliber of opponents that they came up against throughout the split, you know, we already kind of said it, that Ion had potentially an easier start to the split for themselves and it got tougher, whereas for Kanga it might have been flipped around and they started with the tougher opponents going to the easier ones. And so you can't put them on the same playing field when you look at the performance, but I think you also have to look at how like dominant victories are, how like dominant team fights are taken, how good their ideas around drafting is, and the fact that Kanga can have like a misdraft in some of their previous series and still come out on top shows that I think in addition to the roster and maybe a change up is leading them towards having the favor between the two, whereas Ion is just like, okay, what has been the big change up for them this split so far? But hey, that's just my thoughts. I like the Tally's at least somewhat a little bit on the same page as us.
No cop-out answer, no 3-game series now. It's just like straight out 2-0, bang, done.
Yeah. We wanted to talk about more, but we got so caught up in talking about what our 3 amazing experts, Fighter, Rusty, and Tally had given us that we've run out of time. We just have to jump to a break, but when we come back, we will be able to jump straight into our first elimination series here at our playoffs. It's Antic up against Fury.
Telling me what you think it's over. Should have jumped from the ship, now we're up to our shoulders. But hold on, just a little bit longer now. Yeah, hang on, just a little bit harder now.
Kevy's after becomes the Varus. forced out of the stopwatch. It's carnage. They're all charged at his command. Oh, the boom! It's do or die.
Fury up against Antic. We will be seeing one of these two teams going home and saying goodbye to their PCS dreams in potentially 2 games. Hopefully, though, 3 games. We want to be able to see this best of 3 go the whole distance. But before we even jump into this series, before game 1 even begins, let's talk about who we're going to be seeing get into the lobby and onto the Rift for the side of Antic. It's the same lineup that we saw yesterday, Max.
Yes, it is, and this is a lineup who, they have a lot of experience, but ultimately yesterday it didn't come to fruition. And what we touted as one of the games of the split, they did fall down in that game 3 here from ground zero. So coming to today, I'm expecting some angry gaming. This is a team that does not belong in the lower bracket. This is a team who wants to be challenging for PCS, so I'm a bit worried for Fury with what they're going to come in with today.
Yeah, definitely not round 1 of the lower bracket either. It was unfortunately just one team fight, something that we praised them for being phenomenal at, that garnered that loss in game number 3. On the other side, though, that we'll be loading into this lobby is going to be Fury. Again, same roster that we've seen time and time again, Skimmy.
It is that same roster we've seen countless times before. They're going to be coming into this one, though, on a 4-loss streak, though, so their life is... in a similar vein, you would say, both looking to try and do some angry gaming, but they've had a bit of time to observe their opposition, figure out really how to approach things. Maybe seen and spotted a few things from that hectic best of 3 last night, and found a way to try and exploit that early game advantage, which we've harped on as being a major focus. And that really is the focus for me, right? Because when you look at these two teams in the past, Antic have been able to close it out in 26 minutes flat with even a 17k gold lead. So it's a monumental advantage, as you're sort of seeing the proof of that being demonstrated right here and now. So I'm curious to see how they look to try and claim a win. For me, I'd love to see Findo stick to these aggressive supports rather than the enchanters. For me, he's always looked the best on the likes of the Blitzcrank or a Nautilus, always finding the angles. Even the Ashe, to some extent, those Ashe ults were phenomenal. But I'd love to see him have like a sense of agency, so he can be very much like Benby last night, always omnipresent on the map, always causing headaches for the likes of, say, Ryoma or elsewhere.
I think Fury is the team that, by a long shot in this split or in the LCO, fits the description of a team that matches the same caliber of like the opponent that they're playing up against. So if you find them coming up against, second or third, like they are here against Antic, I feel like they're actually going to be able to match toe-to-toe. But, we've seen them in games against Direwolves. I think that was one of their last matchups before coming into the playoffs, where it's just like, it felt that, again, they were playing on the same level. So they're a really weird team, but I actually think that despite the losses that they've had, it's not necessarily indicative of the way that they've been able to play for themselves. Either way, I'm going to stop talking right now, or maybe not too much more, because we do have an interview ready. So let's pull in our player here, Swiper. Oh, look, I got you in here, Swiper, because I know yesterday was tough for you guys, and I don't want to dwell on it too much, but I do want to ask, how do you guys come out of a 3-game series, obviously just losing out and staying in the upper bracket, and prepare yourselves to play again today?
Yeah, I mean, last night was pretty rough, to be honest. It was a tough loss, especially in that 3rd game. I think the first 2 games are pretty one-sided. So, I mean, being in such a position and then kind of throwing it away. And, I mean, I would take accountability a lot for the end, like losing the smite steals. So, yeah, to be honest, it fucking hurt. Sorry for the language, but...
No, you're
yeah,
good.
I mean, just got to kind of bounce back into the gauntlet. I mean, this is like a lot more practice for us, like running through the lower bracket. Like, we're really confident still. And we just take one series at a time, and Fury's they're going to test us for sure, but yeah, I mean, we're coming guns blazing today.
Yeah, at the risk of sounding maybe like a bit of a broken record, I do just want to know how the atmosphere for the team is coming into this. Is there that little bit of extra pressure, or are you trying to just be really relaxed and calm with all of it?
Yeah, look, the boys on this roster, they get a little bit heated after losses, and we definitely have to have some chats to kind of like sort it out. But every time we load back into the Rift, like the next day or whatever, like we're pretty much fully reset. And we know that we can win any game and that we can be the best team in this region. And that's really just the confidence that you need, because if you don't have that confidence, you'll just end up losing. So I
like to hear that you guys have it. And all the way back at the start of the split, I asked you like how you would, what's going to be the future for you coming into this role swap as a jungler, kind of brand new territory for you. But now that we're getting near the end of it and we're into playoffs, like, what do you think your biggest growth has been in this role?
I think like in terms of my individual skill, like not falling too far behind in the early game, matching up to like, I mean, Shern yesterday was testing me on a few invades. Like I think I've gotten a lot better at like playing around that. I think I still have some areas to grow, especially around like smiting and stuff. Like I'm not used to that type of like pressure situation in a team fight where you have to think about 50-50 in objective as well. So that's just a skill that I think you grow over time. But outside of that, I've had a blast like learning the role this split, and it's been fun. Yeah.
I love to hear that, and I know Max has a big question that he wants to ask you here.
Yeah, Swips, you looked obviously really fantastic in game one, especially yesterday on that rel. I think you absolutely gave it to Shern Fire in that rel versus Poppy matchup. Coming in here against Nox, who we know is so kind of key to Fury's success in terms of both draft and the way that they play. How are you keeping that in mind, and what's the strategy heading into today?
Yeah, I mean, Nox is really good at like pushing individual leads. Like he really gets in your face. I think I've matched up pretty well against him, surprisingly, out of all the junglers. Like I've found that I don't know, he just kind of ends up dying into me. Like he just finds like, I don't know, he just kills himself a lot. So I think I'm not too stressed about today, but obviously if we lose to another full clearing jungler, I'm going to be pretty tilted. So I'll do my best to stop that.
Great.
Alright, look, if we can make it for some more entertainment if we see Swiper at full tilt. But, we're running short on time, so unfortunately we have to say goodbye to you right now, Swiper. Thank you so much for joining us, and good luck today.
No worries.
Good
Thanks.
luck.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you.
I'm so sorry, Skim. I love like
Once again.
Good luck.
Unlucky, Skimmy.
That's cool.
Yeah. I would have gone to you, Skim, but Max had told me before the show even started that he had a question already prepared for Swiper. So when I got the news that we had to end the interview, I was like, all right, I guess Skim has to lose out on this one.
That's cool, Nat. We understand. Yep. Got your favorites? I understand.
I'll make sure you definitely get time in the next interview. I promise you that one. But it's nice to hear that both ends of it, right? That the players on Antic, they obviously all have a lot that they want to say. They're able to get it out there. But in doing so, it's the reset that they needed and hopefully the confidence builder in each other. So we'll see exactly where they do land, but always enjoy talking to Swiper, and I do also really enjoy talking to our Fury players too. So let's jump into our second interview here. Let's pull on in Hooper. Hello, Hooper.
Hi.
How excited are you to be playing in playoffs?
Pretty excited. After I left Order, this is my second time to I'm making playoff.
Yeah, and I mean, you guys now playing a best of 3 as well. Are you looking forward to potentially going to all 3 games? You hoping like, let's just close it out 2-0?
I hope we can beat Antic, but I know Antic is really a strong team. But I hope we still have a small chance to beat them today.
Yeah. We've obviously had 6 weeks as well of the regular split, so I wanted to know for you down in the bot lane, where do you think you've been able to really improve on and like have that showing for yourself as an ADC?
I feel like I can rush with many good ADC players like Limas and Violet, even King. When I landing phase with them, they give me like pretty much like experience, like how they trading in lane, and then let me improve that every time they beat me, even in solo queue as well. Yeah.
That's awesome to hear. And Skimmy, it is your time for a question.
Yeah, well, Hooper, mate, I know it's been a bit of a rough season for you individually, but I'd love to know what you've been cooking up in the back to get yourself into playoffs, right? Like, I know when you bust onto the scene, it was all about showcasing your Zeri, your Caitlyn, your Lucian. So are we going to get a taste of those champions coming back for this year's playoffs?
Nope.
No?
No.
Just like no?
No, because there are many good flex ADC right now, even like Smolder or even TF. So like Lucian or even Kelly, it's pretty hard to come back in. But I hope I can try to play them again for this playoff. Hopefully.
Okay. Get the dragon, get a pentakill, easy.
Yeah, yes, Fallen Pentacle. We also have time. Max, if you'd like to ask a question.
Fantastic. Yes. Look, keeping the conversation directed around that bot lane. Obviously, King and Draku have been known to definitely push the pace from level 1 in that lane. How are you and Findo kind of prepping for that bot lane duo coming into today?
I actually don't know. Just I know Draco and King are really good friends, and that they're actually really good players with a lot of experiences. So I hope I just play safe and then have some like try to outplay them with some good play, and then just try to win the game. That's it.
Outscaling our team fight. Love it.
Perfect. Hoover, thank you so much for joining us. Good luck in
Thank you very
your
much.
upcoming series.
Have a good one. See ya.
See ya. Bye.
I love him. He's fantastic. But
He's so
again,
good.
why are we saying we have a small chance to win? Who is the coaches on these teams? This is what I want to know. Like, how are you letting your players come in with that mindset? No, we're crushing them. They just lost. In the upper bracket, they're in the same lower bracket as us.
Need to copy Doremog and just come in. I'm going to absolutely mog this team. We're going to smash them. We're going to blast them. And then get 2-0'd and be like, it is what it is, baby.
That's what you're going to do.
It is what it is. I do like how straightforward he was, though, with your question, Skimmy. He's like, no.
Nah.
Just absolutely not. I mean, let's rewind. Let's have a look at the last time that Antic and Fury were up against each other. It was all the way back in week 4, and these were the champions that were in meta. These are the ones that we saw them pick up for themselves. And I'm trying to look at the bot lane here. So the Kalista, the Aphelios, that's what was done on the side of Fury. And anything else that when you run down the list of stats and champions played sticks out to you, Max?
Honestly, this was kind of the opposite of the way that a lot of Fury series go. It was actually the bot lane here, Hooper and Findo, who were able to kind of remain relevant. I think the big issue here was the mid lane. Chirp got absolutely blasted by Ryoma in both of these matchups, and when your mid is just really under his turret the entire game, it becomes incredibly hard for Nox, who loves to play these aggressive champions, to actually find those engages, right? We saw in the game when he was playing the Wukong, he's kind of diving in miles ahead of his team because he feels like he has to get something done because his top and mid are losing so heavily, but ultimately that only makes the situation worse. So, I mean, yeah, if these stats paint any picture, it's that Antic are incredibly good at dominating these solo lanes.
Yeah, I am super impressed with the stats that Ryoma had there. In fact, that overall team stats. So, refresh my memory, Skimmy. I believe that for Fury, these are just stats from the regular season, and for Antic, this is the regular season and the playoff series that we saw them play yesterday too, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so it's going to make, the side of Antic maybe look a little bit more lopsided, but you can see the overarching theme for Fury is that, goal difference-wise, they're 7th in the entire league, right? So do tend to fall behind in the early game, which is why we're really holding in on that point in particular. I think Dragon Control's been a bit of a nuisance for them too, right? The ability to actually have like a late game win condition for them to play towards. But they've been certainly all in on the likes of a Herald or even those Void Grubs instead, right? Making sure that Nox, if he's certainly on that Velvet, for instance, can really take over the game. But once again, it paints this picture that top lane is going to be a big spot to keep your eye on, the likes of both Woodon and, Tomasino and Zoran is going to be looking to really showcase what they can do. Chirp has always been one to try and showcase what he can do. He's always looking to try and be fairly aggressive, but it tends to come at the cost of his own life falling down. So all I'm asking for, Fury, please ban, if I see an Orianna ban, if I do see that Orianna ban, I'm going to be very, very upset.
That's just your little 2 cents that you're just putting out there. Antic, they're the higher seed in this matchup, so they're coming in, getting to pick up side select for themselves, and they decide, blue side, they want to be able to have first pick. I feel like it's probably gonna be an ADC that they pick up for themselves, maybe potentially Smolder if it does get let through. But hey, that's my bold prediction here for it. If you guys have more that you want to say about it though, make sure you join our Discord. !Discord. You can join in on the fan vote that's happening over there. I'm sure a bunch of people are also having a little bit of a watch party of some form too if you want to talk to some other people. But otherwise, if you like exactly where you are in Twitch chat, if you like to just be a little bit of a chatting, then you guys can use chatting. I know that's Skimmy's favorite.
It's his trigger word.
It's my favorite word.
It is.
It sets me off like Alexa. Chatting.
I love it. Skimmy, yes, hello. You guys can use your Twitch channel points then to have your say, have a bit of a prediction. It's up there in the right-hand side, just above Max. Put them all in. Put them all in on Fury. Put them all in on Antic. I don't know which way you think it's going to be going, but I know exactly where we think it's going. And just like Fido, Rusty, and Talia earlier at the start of our pre-show, we think it's going to be a 2-0 Antic. I believe there is going to be a lot of fighting spirit in Fury. I just don't know if it's going to be enough to get a one-game win for themselves or a series win for themselves, Max.
No, they've lost their last 8 games, and in their previous meeting, from what we just saw, Antic absolutely steamrolled them. Yes, Antic is probably not looking as dominant as they would have liked to have been, obviously coming off some rough losses on the back end of their split. But I think at the same time, this is just 2 different calibers of teams, and unfortunately, the rookies from Fury are really going to have a miracle happen in the week between last week and this week if they want to have a chance.
Hey, we don't count out miracles, okay? We saw game number 3 yesterday between Ground Zero and Antic. That was almost a form of a miracle for Ground Zero. So let's see if maybe something similar can come to fruition for Fury as we are heading into game number 1, Champ Select.
Beautiful. Let's do it then, Max. Let's load ourselves in for day number 2 of the playoffs. And already, right out the gates, the bans are different. The Belveth, it's a known quantity. Nox, every single time he gets it, he always goes for it. But the Aurelian Soul is one that catches me off guard.
This is just all respect bans here from Antic. I think this is a really smart way of drafting on the blue side. You know that you are going to have the preference of whatever trade in terms of the OPs is still available. And Fury, they're opting to take away this Orianna. So depending on what they ban here, either Azir or Smolder will still be alive. Antic have shown that they're very willing to first pick either of these 2 champions. And we've seen how strong Smolder can be yesterday. Basically looked invincible. I'd have to confirm King's KDA, but we know Limus went 18-0 on the pick, and actually, it's going to be neither of those taken away. They've preemptively banned the Tahm Kench, which is what we have seen Dragku pair with Smolder down towards this bot lane to provide that extra bit of safety. But with that taken off the board, it will make room for this little dragon to be picked up.
Yeah, it seems, crazy to say, but it almost feels like a bit of a free win at this point, right? The champion is so insane because we've yet to find a way for somebody to shut it down in at that early game. You can deny King last night and have him zoned away from that tower to be level 1 with 0 CS. It doesn't matter. He finds a way to claw his way back in and open the floodgates as a result. So the reason why they didn't deny the Azir is because they wanted it for themselves. They left the setup up as well, whether or not they want to lock that in nice and early here for Hooper too, to match scaling with skilling. So it was a prominent ban last night to make sure that the Smolder wouldn't get contested, but considering the vibe, really high priority on a jungler.
Well, I think with the Tahm Kench being taken off, it makes it so much better, right? Because you know that ultimate is going to be able to come through. The Azir pick as well is really nice. I think in their last series, Chirp really struggled against Ryoma on the Orianna, but because that's taken away, he hopefully will have a bit nicer of a laning phase and be able to scale into the late game. So really, 2 of Ryoma's kind of S-tier picks have been taken away here. That being said, there is by no means a very small champion pool present for this mid laner. We know he's able to play anything. Akali yesterday seen to be brought out against the Azir, and it's going to be Poppy here. So really nice jungle pick in terms of just providing this disengage role. Steadfast presence, you stand on top of your carries, and then suddenly an Azir dashing in isn't able to get that play that he wants. Same with the Vi, and Dragku on Nautilus, one of his staples he likes to default back to, but the playmaking is something that Antic can rely on time after time.
They certainly can, and really worked wonders last night as well. I'm glad they've actually picked this up as a double denial, right? Because obviously Dragku was phenomenal at the champion, but I highlighted and gave credit to Findo in that same regard as well. So he's going to get a little bit creative now as to how does he want to try and influence is in that same vein. The Rel is being looked at, and it's been a long time since we've seen a Rel in the support.
Yeah, it has been ages. Into Nautilus here, kind of matching engage with engage, which is something that you mentioned you did want to see from Findo here. But all I'm thinking, as these first 3 picks are locked in from Fury here, is just how good of a Poppy game is this, right? I mean, the Steadfast presence is going to be finding so much value, especially with this Rel now who wants to be using that W to get in and aggressive on towards Smolder. But I do like this approach from Fury. You know, they're saying that, okay, we're really wanting to play aggressive here through our jungle support. We've got a lot of lockdown, a lot of CC to target this Smolder and shut him down before he gets online.
That's exactly what they're looking for, right? Whether it be an aggressive bot lane or a strong mid jungler, try and influence and rotate down to actually get on top and really keep that Smolder behind. They're actually going for the Kaiser ban here, bit of a respect one, a champion that we've yet to see. Has certainly been flexed elsewhere in the world, but hasn't made it to our part of the globe just yet. But is paying certainly respect to Hooper. It does have that diverse champion body. Will say to me, I'm not going to be doing anything crazy skimmy like the Zerial Illusion. May just default to something like an Aphelios after all, but Just making sure that there's no craziness that could unfold here.
I'd feel so sad if it's Nefalios with the rest of this comp. I think they've done such a nice job of getting themselves this composition that wants to run forwards, and that's really why the Kaiser ban has come out, right? They don't want to have any more diving threat onto this Smolder. And Varus, obviously just an S tier 80 carry in terms of being able to control the laning phase and really win through that. So with those being taken off the board, what are we going to see here? This is something we talked about a couple weeks ago, the potential Sivir pick in terms of being that kind of 500 CS win condition where you're just wave clearing, buffing up your team with that ultimate move speed to really get into the fight faster. What will Hooper go towards? It's going to be the Xayah. So instead kind of valuing the safety as opposed to just a pure aggression that something like a Draven would be able to provide, but certainly he's going to feel quite nice being self-sufficient in fights.
Yeah, not going to be the strongest in terms of making Smolder fall behind in the laning phase, but definitely going to be, as you say, very self-sufficient once those team fights come on after. You could see just how much impact Lemus was able to find it in Antic series last night, right? The ability to dodge out so many crucial ultimates, always be able to have max HP to be an influence in this game. The Taliyah, an absolute nightmare, and it's going to come out to play once again too. And it's good now to start to see more individuals see the value in that one. Pick up an R2, and you've now got yourself really a case of knocking people all over the show.
I'm so surprised that this Taliyah didn't get banned here. This is like the biggest S+++ tier game for Taliyah, who has felt really good so far in 14.3, right? We saw her in the hands of Ryu Fury, both in terms of your push feeling nice, but also the roaming ability and the skirmishing, especially with the lockdown that something like a Nautilus and Poppy can provide here. But with that blind pick, you do open the door for Tomasino's counter picks. It's not going to be the Yone. He's instead going to go with the Aatrox. So valuing this team fight, and really, that is all what Fury want here. These are 5 champions who want to go all out in this 5v5 situation. Whereas Antic, they're more happy playing around their side lanes, playing around this mobility that something like a Gnar and Taliyah can have to buy time for this Smolder to come online and take over the game.
Absolutely. Last night, the key for them was all about disengage, or champions that can look to try and displace. But this time, it's a case of respecting that Fury want to do one thing and one thing only, run towards you and shut you down. The Nautilus is going to be phenomenal in assisting that. Obviously, you've talked at great lengths as to how much value the Poppy's going to find, in particular with that steadfast presence. But the Taliyah and Gnar, I mean, they really can do it all. Very flexible in their ability to not only deny you engaging, but also set it up with those shoves into Gnar ultimate and guarantee that because Fury will be clumped up coming as a unit to try and shut you down, we should find some multi-man stuns to turn that fight around. Now that you've seen both comps, do you feel like you're leaning towards any in particular?
See, I would honestly say I really like Fury's comp, but I simply cannot go past the fact that this Taliyah and Poppy are going to make engaging almost impossible. If it were any other team, I would still have my question marks, but I think that Antic are so reliable, especially from Swiper and Ryoma there, that I think they're going to have a fantastic time stifling the engage of Fury. And then if this engage comp isn't ahead, well then suddenly you've got a Vi and you've got a Rel dashing in simply to their deaths here, Skimmy. So ultimately, I think it's close, and I think that certainly Fury have the tools to be able to find these engages and really snowball the game. But if Antic, they can hold out, like we know that they can do, to even 54 minutes, this game is certainly looking to be in good stead.
It really is. The late game scaling would definitely be a bit of a nuisance for them. My question, though, is are we going to get any level 1 shenanigans? Ground Zero, very well drilled and denying a lot of that for Antic last night, but it has certainly been a saving grace for them, allowing the likes of Swiper to get ahead nice and early, and have Fury done enough to not only prevent that, but then perhaps, in their own vein, even look at sneaking away some pressure of their own. Here we go then, game number 1. It's day 2 of the playoffs as we jump into the lower bracket, a single best of 3 determining whether or not you're going home or you get another chance to work towards PCS.
And there's so much on the line there, isn't it? You can see in Chirp's camera, you can see him just trying to settle in to the atmosphere that is playoffs, right? Obviously, there's so much on the line, and unlike Antic, who have been here many times before, the threat of an elimination game is certainly something not to be underestimated. So, standard level 1 here, I do like this approach from Fury, you know. Their bot side 3v3, it's not the worst, but Vi level 1 is pretty useless, and you are going up against the Nautilus Taliyah mid-sup combo. So, just going to be all standard for now, as Swiper might be looking to get a Raptor ward with Taliyah here. The way he's positioning, actually, he's looking for an invade here. So I think that Antic, they're trying to take away this Raptor camp and potentially stop Nox from getting his red.
See that the ward does go across, and Fury are well aware of it. Double ward actually getting placed on Dan, as Zonis and Swiper are both in the area. And just like that, they're going to walk straight towards the Raptors, take that one away, whilst Fury, or whilst Tomasino, I should say, is there to protect and help leash on that red, but Zoran has been an absolute menace as this mini now is going to make sure that Nox goes down to 30%, getting lower and lower. The smite comes out, but Swiper with the flash done against the wall and says, that's my red buff, and that's my first blood.
Really smart level 1 play there from Antic. You could see Zoranus came down both harassing Nox while also leashing the Raptors. That means that Swiper, he's able to do the quicker camp, get that level 2 first, and then whilst he flashes for the smite that doesn't land, he still has enough damage to kill Nox. So that red buff transferred, that early level 1 play, camp denied away. Antic, fantastic opening here to game 1.
Certainly is the best possible start for them, and you already highlighted some of the strengths of what their comp can provide, and as for Fear, if they fall behind, there are some concerns, and it certainly isn't the best way to settle those jitters, calm those nerves, and to get that game 1 under wraps. You have to see now what Nox can do to look to try and rectify the situation. Fresh of reset, he has nothing to purchase, it's just straight to the blue.
And just look at the tracking as well. Dragu there off the shoved wave is going to be able to walk in and place a ward on the enemy blue buff. So Nox here will be tracked throughout his entire jungle sequence, which makes this Vi, who already has a really tough time finding anything against the comp of Antic, so much harder to play here in the early game. Now, if he does go for this invade, he does have a slight mid lane HP advantage from that good trading from Chirp. But Smite is online for Swiper. He can use it if he needs to, but Nox is here.
The Smite does come out there from Swiper, steadfast presence proactively. Or proactively rather, to try and prevent any kind of engage or a little bit of a trade to get some form of clear advantage. But Nox really does become a passenger, just witnessing Swiper deny that camp away from him. He's going to peer his head into the mid lane as well. And look at Ryoma, who is just TP back to lane as Chirp dumps in. The minefield goes down, the flash dash not to be found. And Ryoma just gets to pebble them with stones as he walks away to safety.
You're very happy with that trade though if you are Nox, right? Because now that opens up a window for when Chirp hits that level 6 mark, to be able to find that shuffle with the flash that he still has. And also at the back end, he'll be able to pick up a Scuttle Crab. So despite his pretty bad start, you know, you're losing your life at level 2 is definitely not something you want as any jungler. A Swiper here in the mid lane.
Yeah, really nice Hex Flash there into False Flash as well. So that flash advantage you mentioned that Chirp had moments prior, that's completely gone away. And now it does become that even matchup. He can just TP back to lane, but it opens the ability for Swiper just to walk across and take the respawn of the enemy Raptors once more. And now mid lane really does become the focus with no flash existing. Very, very vulnerable.
And what is it with Swiper in game 1s? He just seems like a different beast here. Like I said, that flash advantage would have been so huge, but he comes and takes it back. Now Chirp here in the mid lane. Draku's also here.
That's cute, that's clever, and it's a phenomenal Hex Flash across the wall. Seismic shove, headbutt one way, hook the other. You've just TP'd back to lane, and you're dead.
Super intelligent play there. Nice collapse from Swiper, cancelling the Azir dash, and because he had no flash from that previous play, Draku's just able to walk up, layer the CC, and give Swiper his second kill of the game here. So, you know, we mentioned mid lane being such a volatile part of this game, and Zoran is actually looking for a little bit of a trade here. Doesn't have the boomerang available, so won't be able to actually find it. Now, question is, can Tomasino get the crash here? He does have his jungler in the area and a health pot, but it will be spotted here. So likely Tomasino just going to push his wave in and try to get a base. Meanwhile, Nox will be looking at these void drops.
Certainly will be, and he's going to look to try and prey upon the fact that Tomasino does have the crash in top, that he can utilize that to take this with a little to no variance on whether or not Swiper would be in the area. We know that he's pathing towards it now, but it may be too little too late with one already taken, a second being worked on. Swiper, though, is going to look to try and contest that second one, enough so that does force the punch out to safety. So his mere presence is enough to say, I just cannot contest.
Look at the item disparity, Skimmy. That's really the main thing here. It's a whole Barmy Cinder, cloth armor, and boots to absolutely nothing from Nox beside that Moss Stomper seedling. So definitely not in a position to be able to find that combat advantage. We can see the bot lane actually surprisingly even here for Fury, which if you are a fan of this team and you have watched them in recent weeks, you'd definitely be happy with. Often their bot lane has been getting pressured under their turret, losing plates and whatnot. But in this lane, especially with Draku being out of it for quite a substantial amount of time, it looks like they'll be able to equalize the CS department. So Swiper really has been running this map so far. He has been the quarterback, making plays on both sides of the map. Now he will go for this Raptor camp. Nox does know the respawn timer because he was here on that previous take. But what's this Vi actually going to do? It's a Doran's Blade Longsword. Poppy does so much base damage at this point in the game. But unfortunately, Vi is not able to win that 1v1.
Yeah, and every single time he looks to try and make a play happen, he's just getting bullied off, knowing that Swiper is in the area and that his team would be there to deploy and respond first. So whilst you've scattered out the respawn of that enemy Raptors and you've looked at that, start the Dragon and you just walk away there after Dragon copied a whole bunch of damage, so much so that he's forced to flush away to safety as King sneezes on Hooper, now goes flap, 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 and hits everybody in proximity. A flash dash and a punch to the head as Swiper on the Poppy is now 3-0.
Why not make this jungle pick a carry here? Swiper playing for his team, but ultimately he is the one with all the kills now. A really nice roam towards the bot lane. Trades flashes with Hooper. Hits the Q as he's point blank, and despite the Ghost running, he has that Buckler passive available to secure the kill here. And off the back end of that, they will be looking at this Dragon now. Looks to be largely uncontested as the members of Fury are walking back to base. But already Antic, 1,500 gold lead, 2 grubs. Zoran is looking at Tomasino here.
Certainly is looking at Tomasino, hitting the ultimate straight into that wall and guaranteeing that Tomasino's under a lot of pressure right now. He's going to go in for that respawn off the boulder. He needs that damage and forces out the flash. Preemptive in towards that tri-bush, but Ryoma comes in with a drive-by, denied by an even bigger wall than the one that he can provide. And all that vision getting planted, but he's going to get away scot-free.
Just short there of being able to find that kill. I was surprised a little bit that Zoranus didn't just immediately follow Flash with that Tomasino play going over the wall. And let's take a look once again at how this bot lane play starts out. So Findo and Hooper, they're trading aggressively to be able to get this wave in. Draku really chunked out, but by this time they've committed very far up the lane. That means once Swiper shows, flashes at basically the exact same time, and it takes down Hooper. So really nice response here. Swiper just at the right place at the right time, it feels like, punishing every single lane on the map.
Yeah, phenomenal read right on this, you say, the preemptive flash to anticipate what Hooper's move would be. And I think really, they're going to feel frustrated. You can see the sort of dismay in Findo's reaction when that play went awry, given that he's almost been baited into a false sense of hope that they were going to get that kill onto Drake, who he's soaked up so much, flashed away to safety, and by that point, so well overextended. It was very easy then for the Poppy to rock up and shut you down. And it does, once again, raise the point of how does Nox get back into this game? Whilst you could raise the argument that level 6 and the cease and desist is still incredibly strong, still at the end of the day, this Poppy is a carry, and is this going to deny all the mobility that your comp is built to do?
Yeah, you have to play on the opposite side of the map here if you're Nox. If there's any time it's a 3v3, Swiper will simply just win. Not only because of the value that he's getting from his W, but also just the pure item advantage that he has at this stage. So I'd really like to see Nox being able to pair up with either Findo or Chirp. I think mid lane is definitely a point you can still continue to attack, even with the Talia flash being present. If you just VIR her, perhaps force a flash and then you're able to get the scoop back, that can be an avenue for the kill here. And kind of flipping the script on the last game. Yes, Chirp has gone down, but he's going for the scoop.
He is going for that scoop. Can they funnel up the Vi ultimate thereafter? It's just not enough because Nox is a little bit lagging behind. As Swiper jumps across that minefield and says, actually, it's a 3v2. Draku threatening with that dredge line, but the minion wave being in such a position that Fury are very defensive on their retreat away. It would have been a bit of an overreach at that point in the game. Smite to secure that top side scuttler as they hover in the area looking at the second respawn of these Void Grubs.
But look at this, Fury's brought up their bot lane to be able to have an advantageous position here for this second respawn. And with Hooper in the area, it looks like they might be looking onto Zoranus here. Still has flash though.
Looking for Zoranus, he leaps away, comes to one ultimate, then gets locked in place. No Magnet Storm available, so all it is about is that Blade Caller to rip back the feathers, but not enough damage found. Fido incredibly low. Ryoma TPing up the top side and says hello. Seismic shove, flashed away from. Out comes the Featherstorm, Nox is low, flash to kill. Ryoma gets it, pebbles onto Fido. The angles are wrong. The tower destroys him. And Hooper answers back with the first kill here for Antic. Draku has no flash, just a Hex. But it won't be enough, so Fido gets away.
Fury bring up 4, but Antic, they have 4 of their own, and they are simply stronger there. Nice TP in from Ryoma to get that nice position. So we take a look once again here. It starts with a pick onto Zoranus, but look at his flash here. That's really the key thing. They find the CC from the Rel, but he flashes just in time for that Xayah E to not be able to connect, not able to root and do the damage that it would need to. And that means that he's able to escape with his life. And by the time Ryoma actually gets into this play, he does so much damage on this Talia that yes, he unfortunately goes down, but it will be in exchange for 2 kills and all three of those remaining Void Grubs going over to Swiper.
But they certainly are, Max. So 5 Grubs in their favor, Void Mites to be spawned, and map pressure to certainly be acquired and utilized. We saw just how strong it was, how prevalent it was in the 2 best of 3s last night, where the team that got it, the team that had the better understanding of setting up for that macro, were just too good to press their leads.
No.
So you're anticipating that with it already being a 2K lead at 11 minutes, by the 15-minute mark, we should see some turrets falling down.
Yeah, any alone time, especially for a Nah, who is going to be, you assume, building towards a Trinity Force, will definitely result in some quick takes here. Now, 40 seconds on this next Dragon does raise the question of, do either team want to fight it? You can see Chirp here with the Nash's Tooth completed. He just TP'd back into mid lane to be able to contest the priority here. And Hooper does have his own Kraken Slayer. You can see already how much damage this is actually able to do if he's allowed to hit. But as of right now, Tomasino is walking towards the top lane. He does have his TP coming up in just a second. Crucially, Skimmy though, Finder, he's not level 6, doesn't have that relative available, but Nautilus certainly does.
Yeah, so we're going to try and bite the bullet and find them from the right here and now. They descend upon their one key target, remove Chirp. No, he's in, no damage, no chance to try and answer back in this team fight. It's just too easy, Max, as they wipe the floor and pick up 2.
So simple, they just walk into River, use the depth charge on towards Chirp, who's picked off, isolated. And yes, the members of Fury, in a couple seconds they'd be able to respond, but as of that play, there's no TP available from Tomasino. Hooper doesn't want anything to do with that fight, and Antic simply squeezing the trigger on another misnumbered fight. This is almost exactly what it felt like in their game 1 yesterday against Ground Zero, where they're always the first ones to pull that trigger, always the first ones to find that decisive fight. And here they will absolutely do so and net themselves a 3,000 gold lead in the process.
Yeah, they certainly will, but you can imagine that Fury are going to be kicking themselves because Finder just ticks across to level 6, and whilst you can make the argument that, yeah, Chirp was incredibly strong, which was true, they didn't have the ability to counteract this engage. Dragu noticing that just says, well, why don't we just hit the ultimate and take him out?
Yeah, super easy. I mean, he tries to create the distance here, but the counter engage on top of that is there from Swiper. So despite the Emperor's Divide coming through, there's simply too much damage. And look at the position of the top and AD carry here. They're both confined to their waves. So they are nowhere near being able to help their mid laner out there. And ultimately, Fury, this is an early game comp. They do need to be finding picks with this Vi. So far, nothing has fallen in their favor, though. Some Turret Plates will be a consolation prize. I mean, Tomasino was able to get some up in towards that top lane, whilst Zoranus was making waves down in the bottom. And it will be actually the Sundered Sky Aatrox coming online. I just want to personally say, I hate this build. I think Aatrox finds so much more value with the lethality in terms of being able to find damage. And even the healing that you're getting from Sundered Sky, you take into account all the damage and all the healing you're able to get from the lethality build. I think it really speaks to Tomasino valuing the safety and the perhaps more HP the Sundered Sky is going to give him.
Yeah, we certainly have seen a bit of a mixed bag of Sundered Sky users instead of the Profane Hydra, which definitely in recent times has looked to be the S-tier variation, if you will. But it's only a good point to be raised, knowing that Zoranus is going to keep him at arm's bay. He is still keeping the lane even, but it's obviously in isolation because he's allowed to just walk out of lane. And it's just Swiper that is so far ahead. 5-0, already with the Frozen Heart. It's going to find infinite value in this game as Roma gets jumped upon here by that cease and desist. Nox is going to simply die to the tower. The Emperor's Divide at point blank range finds a shutdown. There's kill number 2 here for Fury as Draku, locked underneath his own tower, receives the Magma Storm, burns down to the Ignite, and grants Chirp a double.
There's the aggression we wanted to see from Fury. Nox pulls the trigger. He does go down, but it is absolutely a worthy sacrifice here. Chirp getting so much gold into his back pocket at the end of that. And the TP from Tomasino to secure things don't go awry, but that's going to open up this window here in the top lane. Swiper does have this Rift Herald, will drift it in nicely. And with all those Void Mites, all this time to really make waves in this top lane, he's going for a second charge.
And he certainly would do, because it's just going to be too little too late before Fury can respond to this one. So infinite value capitalized on there. And really open up this top lane now to work in their favor. 3 members, make it 4 from the side of Fury. Find themselves here, but by that point, there's nothing left to do. So once again, Antic have run this map and very content with how state of the game is 15 minutes in.
Yeah, definitely 2 dragons up here. As we take a look once again at this bot lane play, you can see Draku's hovering in the area because he suspects something is up, but Nox just pulls the trigger anyway, locking Ryoma up for so long that even with this flash out, Chirp is able to make up that distance and get the kill here. Now, Findo does a nice job of tanking up this turret. I'm really not sure why this TP came through. Perhaps Tomasino wanted to do this preemptively in case any more members of Antic did show up. But that really did open the window there in the top side for Antic to make their play. So despite those 2 kills going over, ultimately the turret gold really being the deciding factor that's keeping this gold lead pretty even. But as I say that, Finder's been caught.
Yeah, supports are boring right now as they trade ults in a result of a fight that really is still Antic favored. Out comes an Emperor's Divide. It's working so well from Fury as Draco flashing across the wall. Ryoma low and the Feathers take him down. Thomasina flashing to safety, but across the wall goes King. Flap, 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 in your face, lifesteal. It looks good, but it's not enough. Zominus takes him down, and it will just be a 2-for-1.
Disengage is king there as this fight might not be over. Swiper's caught out, does have flash, but he goes by.
Big bounty to be achieved that it can get this Poppy. He's getting lower and lower, down to 200. He's flashing away. Is it enough? The hook goes out. Draco might concede his life in the process, making sure that that bounty is protected. Antic are out, but the charge is being looked at. And Nox says it's not enough. Craziness there for Antic to get away.
Oh, it's so close to getting that huge bounty onto Swiper there. Draco almost looked like he was sacrificing his life. But ultimately, it will be all members of Antic able to walk away from that fight. And you could really see there the value of the Poppy to Leah in those extended sequences. I'm sure we will get a replay, but it was all the members of Fury. They thought they found the good engage, but simply they couldn't layer their CC effectively. We take a look once again. Finder kind of getting caught out here, just fishing for vision. Finds Draku, and you can see, goes forward, flashes onto Ryoma using the Magnet Storm, but look at how they lock down Chirp. This Emperor's Divide isn't able to find much value, and then the Keeper's Verdict to separate those 2 members of Fury from the entire fight. So yes, Ryoma falls down, but this is a Sundered Sky Aatrox. Doesn't have the damage to be able to kill King. And then off the back end, we all know what happens. They try to find the pick onto Swiper, but a phase rush Poppy with flash is possibly one of the hardest targets to take down in the entire game.
Yeah, he wanted that vision, gridded for the control ward, and then he gets punished in the process, but gets away with 200 health to his name. And as you rightly mentioned, Draku looking as if he wants to complete it. No doubt King's happy about it. He knows he can just flap the safety. He picks up some more stacks as he works towards that late game condition. Already sitting on an item and a half, and 186. So not too far away now for the magical 225 execute, and we certainly have seen our fair share of what that means.
And once again, he's deathless at this point, right? They haven't been able to actually successfully find any engages onto this Smolder with how much disengage and how much frontline there is present. It is a rare game to see that Ryoma is actually down in CS, but he's opting for a more defensive build on this Talia here, right? The Archangel's into what you have to assume is going to be like a Zhonya's second, or either he just sits on this Seeker's Arm Guard and holds it for the active. But right now, this Talia is very much on bodyguard duty for the rest of her carries, right? Using that E, using all the playmaking with that flick that she can get to buy space for King. And on top of the gold graphs, no surprise there, Zorinus and King trailed just 100 gold, really, by Chirp here as he takes the control of second place.
Yeah, I think quite achiever has been Hooper, right? Whilst it's, 2-2-0, he's got the bounty and he's up there in that top 4 conversation. So he's hadn't had the easiest time to try and showcase just how strong he would be, but no doubt as you can get the Navori Quick Blades online, there certainly is a massive power spike that comes through for the Xayah as a result. It's not very often we get to see Swiper play from a carry position. His entire champion pool has been that as a facilitator, one to gank, one to tank, and one to try and be there to protect his team. But on this occasion, he's incredibly strong. The Weaver's Wall actually griefing him, so they break it nice and early. The flash away to safety, King on the hunt, the Dragon to slow, Draku waiting for the hook cooldown, that's up in 3 seconds. He's still going. The rest of his team are backing away. They say, all right, fair enough, you're keen for this kill. So they'll look for it, but they don't have a flash available. 2 Hex flashes for their engage options. So Chirp gets away.
That's one of the best played escapes thing I've ever seen, but I think I just spoke too soon. Oh no.
He's ran the gauntlet there. He really thought he'd done enough to try and evade all 4 targets on the side of Antic, but much like a horror maze, he was not prepared for that one.
I mean, I thought he'd done enough. Certainly in his jungle, he will be found eventually, and that will result in this second tier turret going over to Antic as well. But look, I did want to commend the initial play there from Chirp, right? Using the Emperor's Divide really nicely to split the members away from him, and then a really nice shuffle combined with Flash to create space. Yes, he goes down, but it does buy a lot of time for his teammates. So you can see now, heading back to base and really hitting item spikes across the board here, Skimmy. Shojin completed for Thomasina on this Aatrox, feeling very good about these extended trades with the damage he's going to be able to get. And there is the quick plays. That is really the big spike you're wanting to get out of this Xayah. Now an absolute machine if she's able to DPS in team fights, but with only 2 minutes left on this Dragon, which could be a potential soul for Antic, There certainly is no room for error as we head into these mid-game fights.
Right, you are, and it begs the question then, what will these teams look to try and do? Then is it a case of playing it passive and waiting for that all-decisive soul point for Antic to try and pick up, or would they even look at the idea of contesting the Baron? Because Tomasino and Ryoma go for a cheeky 1v1, the world ender gets popped, the depth charge comes out, and Tomasino is simply running the wrong way. He wants to try and lifesteal, but the hook blocks them in place, and Ryoma hits him to the dome with a big old boulder, and Baron is going to get started here by Fury, so instantly jumps and knocks a fantastic flash to safety across the wall there by Dominus as he works his way towards Mega. You can see the desperation, the time being purchased bot side, but the Baron was snuffed out.
Yeah, there's not going to be able to enough damage really to get this Baron down at this stage. Yes, they have an Azir and Desire as Chirp's looking onto Swiper.
Play coming on out to play, but King's got the execute right now, so if they lay enough CC to try and take him out, he flashes into safety. He is going to die! Chirp getting an all-important shot, and this may be a winning fight now for the side of Fury. They found 2 so far, and it's not going back against them. Double for Hooper. The power spike is there, but Zonas rocks up in mini form. He barrages us down with the Black Cleaver, as well as that Trinity Force as Ryoma disengaging away to the top side. A double now found by the Snar. Findo hanging out in the bush. I don't know where he is. It's a game of cat and mouse as to who wants to face check first, but Tomasino respawning, TP's into effect, and flashes to guarantee he doesn't miss.
Big shutdown and a bigger fight from Fury there, getting almost all the members of Antic, and crucially some bounty gold will be coming with that. It's really Hooper who executes that fight incredibly nicely. You can see it starts with this initial pick onto Swiper, I think. He assumes as a Poppy, he's not going to be the one getting engaged upon, but because of that initial fight, they're able to find room onto King. And yes, once that smolder's down, that's so much of your damage actually gone. Fury do a fantastic job of linking as a 4-man unit to be able to provide space for Hooper to DPS. But once Zoranus gets in, this Mini-Gnar does so much damage, almost like a little AD carry on his own. And he will really clean up the fight here for Antic. Tomasino TPing in, commits the TP and the flash, but does secure the kill onto Gnar. So an absolute bloodbath for a game where Antic, you would say, is pretty firmly in control. Finding an even fight like that is absolutely valuable. But here goes the Dragon. This is Soul.
That certainly is Soul. So that goes to keep it very nice. They remove away the Chirp, but it doesn't matter because Nox has stolen away the Dragon. They delayed that Soul point, but can they delay their demise as they're falling down in this fight? Double for King, who finds revenge at the side of his last feet, as they will respond by taking 2 and going straight to Baron.
Yeah, I mean, this Baron's just dead, right? You lose your jungler, you lose your support. Where is the engage? And your ability to contest this Baron, the answer is it is simply non-existent. So Nox, he does deny the Soul, but you really have to question if that is worth it here, as now you can see Antic, they've based Ryoma, and Draku is just behind him as well, wanting to defend this tier 2 turret, but Chirp, he's dashed in.
What a phenomenal stun there for Ryoma, completely breaking the ankles there of Chirp, who was hunting for the Empress Divide and wanted to scoop the flashless Talia. It's not to be, as Tomasino cannot find the chains and is hunting for the Q3 repeat. But a seismic shove completely ruins his day as Draku keeps him in place. He dashes to safety. The Weavers will to say, you're not getting away. And the Pebbles with the stopwatch to get it all done.
Worst possible outcome for Fury there. They lose the Baron and then they lose their 2v2 on the bot side as well. Not even able to break the turret. As we can take a look at how this fight starts once again. You can see Keeper's Verdict shoves Chirp out of the fight. And yes, Nox gets it, but he commits so far in. So does Findo. And these members are just picked off by the DPS available from Smolder. It's the easiest Baron of their lives. And now with the 7,000 gold lead still on Soul Point as well, there's a lot to play for. A lot of objectives, a lot of standing gold to be broken here and really blow this game wide open.
Certainly is. 2 minutes then on that Baron buff to be utilized to open up extra parts of the map. They've already completely exposed top lane, as they could look to certainly knock on the front door of the base of Fury. But mid and bot to still be looked at. And that's exactly where Antic are setting themselves up for right here and now. Lots of flashes missing. Certainly a fair degree of creativity to be unlocked. But I'm looking at Chirp in particular to try and be the hero.
It's so hard, though, to actually be able to get into a position to use that flash. I mean, ideally, he wants to be able to scoop Ryoma and King in. But the simple fact is, if he's using that Aziri aggressively, there are 1,000,001 tools that Antic can use to shut you down, to pull you out of that motion and prevent you from getting into that game-changing position with that Emperor's Divide. So for the time being, Chirp will be isolated on mid lane as Nox. He might burn down here.
Oh, nearly dying to the sneeze of the Smolder there, but just gets away intact. Now comes the Dragon, has such a long range but it's a little bit too late. By that point, Nox was already by that fountain. Peter Hooper is incredibly strong as he matches the 3 items off this Smolder, but that bot lane tower is going to fall on down with the Inspired Cannons buffed up by the Baron. You can see also to the side in the mid wave where Chirp was taking a 1v1 into Zominus to prevent that 1-4 split working against them. It wasn't to be. Zominus reigns supreme, HP intact, and another tower to fall on down. Out goes the trench line, Seismic Shot to defeat it, and it's just too easy again.
Beautiful Weaver's Wall there from Ryoma. Nox doesn't want to use the flash to get over it, so kind of plays this little mini game. But Draku is more than happy to take those. Lands the hook, breaks this second inhib, and they've still got Baron for 30 seconds. They're looking to close this game out right now.
With Baron and 5 grubs, they do so much damage, especially with this wave intact. Double cannons, but they don't want to risk it. They certainly do not want to take any chances, despite it being a 5v4. And 27 minutes in, they'll put a little bit of chip damage into those Nexus towers, but they've taken 2 inhibitors. They say, you know, job well done.
Yeah, job very well done. 5,500 gold. The Baron power play going in their favor. And they're actually not even going to reset here. Ryoma does get his off to pick up that Medjai's, as they will look towards breaking open the last remaining tier 3. Tomasino looking for a base, but there aren't really any good TP wards for him to actually get access to the backline. For the time being, Antic, they will break this. Fury, when do you go? Are you going to give over these 3 inhibitors? But the dredge line lands.
It does go, and that means lights out for Chirp. That was their saving grace, their strongest member. Double kill, easy as you like it there for King, as he just flaps those tiny little dragon wings and hunts for more, hunting for his own kind of pentakill. But it's going to be denied as Fury retreats inside their fountain. Tomasino hunting for a kill onto Zorinus. He flashes for safety, but he's always going to fall on down. That's a triple kill, but not anymore. 2 delayed on this occasion as Swiper locks in fact 2. The Magnastorm comes out as the tower works overtime, but he flashes for safety as well. Double into double on the towers. And stuck inside the base is Hooper as he watches the world burn around him. And Antic take game 1 in just over 28 minutes.
They came off one of the most devastating losses of the split last night, but this game doesn't look like it has affected them one bit. Swiper especially, from a man who you could see was so devastated after their loss, looks like a man reborn here in game 1. And just like we all predicted, just like all the fans were thinking, Antic demolish Fury here in game 1.
And they certainly do. We expected some angry gaming. I'm sure they had their fair share of nightmares from last night, but they've woken up with a point to prove, and just like that, they're already on match point.